Hello, welcome to the Vertical Drop Viking. I'm Josef, and today I want to count down my 10 most anticipated rides at Six Flags Great America. I grew up in Flint, Michigan, and all of my roller coaster experiences growing up were either at traveling fairs and carnivals, Michigan's Adventure, or Cedar Point. My son has recently gotten more and more into thrill rides lately, and it's a perfect excuse for me to gather him up and take him to Illinois next spring so that we can ride every roller coaster there. We're looking forward to expanding our credit list and getting another park under our belt. These are the rides that I'm most excited about and why. Let's start with some honorable mentions. Although it's not a roller coaster, the Sky Striker is making my list of honorable mentions. I really enjoyed this swing when I rode it as Max Air at Cedar Point. That said, unless it's a walk-on, we're not going to be riding this ride on our trip to Great America. There are too many coasters that we need to get under our belt first. We can't spend any time waiting in line for any flat rides. Even though these truly are great flat rides, I do recommend these spinning swings. Next up in the honorable mentions is the Dark Knight Mad Mouse Coaster. Now, if we can get everything else done in the park, I'd be happy to ride this. I don't hate a Wild Mouse coaster, and this Wild Mouse also having dark ride elements makes it even more appealing to me. That said, it is just a Wild Mouse coaster, and there are 10 coasters in the park that I want to ride even more than it. Wild Mouse coasters aren't my favorite. I don't plan on going so late in the season that I'm going to be dying to get out of the sun. If I have to miss a single grown-up coaster in the park, it's going to be this one. American Eagle is on the honorable mentions list simply because there is a allegedly much better wooden roller coaster right nearby. I intend very much to ride that. If American Eagle's a walk-on, we'll walk on, but I'm not going to wait in line for it. Coaster Tube has informed me that it's a very rough ride anyhow. Whizzer. Now, the Whizzer actually looks pretty cool for a family coaster, and it may actually be cool to get on a Schwarzkopf. I've never been ridden a Schwarzkopf coaster before. I'm interested in getting on that piece of coaster history. Now, that said, I am a giant man, and my son at 14, this is before the winter, is about 6'1". So if he gets any bigger, I'm not sure the two of us are going to fit in that little Schwarzkopf car. So the Whizzer might have to stay on the honorable mentions list for us. Last up on the honorable mentions list is the Giant Drop. I actually am kind of interested in riding the Giant Drop. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get my son on it. We'll see. I'll report back. Tell you if I was able to twist his arm and get him on the Giant Drop. I love a drop tower. Any sort of drop I love. All right, let's get into the list proper. We'll start with number 10, Demon. Now, I had a great time on the Corkscrew at Michigan's Adventure. Significantly less of a great time on the Corkscrew at Cedar Point, but I know I'm capable of having fun on these aero loopers. And now that I know about the leg room on the front seat of these aero loopers, I'm much more inclined to get on one. Like I'm going to wait for that front seat so I can stretch my legs out and not get crammed into that old aero train. But if I can get that front seat, I'm getting on the aero looper. And Demon has such a cool custom layout. It's an awesome looking paint job. It's great theming, especially for a Six Flags park, which is not famous for theming. If Demon's not open when we go, it won't break my heart. But if it is open, I'm really looking forward to hopping on it. Number 9 is X Flight. Now, I am a fan of Gatekeeper at Cedar Point. I know that not everybody is. I think I really did enjoy riding Gatekeeper. I enjoy the soaring, floating, zero G feeling that you get from that B&M wing coaster model. So I am looking forward to riding X Flight. Now that said, X Flight stats are not as impressive. On paper, it appears to be a less impressive Gatekeeper. And that's why it's only made it to number 9 on my list of most anticipated rides. So 44 feet shorter, 12 miles an hour slower, one fewer inversion. On paper, it's a less impressive Gatekeeper. That's why it's only made it to number 9 on my list. Number 8 is Batman. This is a B&M invert. This is the B&M invert, the original, number 1. Now, Raptor is my son's favorite coaster ever, and where better to take him next after he's fallen in love with the Raptor than to where it all began, the very first B&M inverted coaster model. I say model, the very first B&M inverted coaster, the one that created the model, the one that has been cloned countless times at other Six Flags parks. This is the one. My son is extremely excited to ride it, obviously, and I'm excited to bring him. I'm excited to see it. Now, that said, I've heard and I can sort of see from the stats, sort of like with X Flight, this has the potential to just be a less impressive version of a ride that I already enjoy. So I've sort of tempered my expectations, knowing going in that Batman the Ride is not going to be quite what Raptor is. Raptor elevated the ride, brought it to another level for Cedar Point in the 90s when the coaster model was still very new and fresh. So it doesn't look nearly as exciting as Raptor to me, but with how popular it is and how many times it's been cloned, I'm looking forward to getting on it, and I'm hoping to be pleasantly surprised. Number 7, we have the Joker. Now, I have heard so many mixed things about these S&S 4D free spin coasters. Now, some people absolutely love these coasters. They applaud their ability to create inversions where there are none. They applaud the sort of random element of this coaster where you don't know going in how many inversions you're really going to undertake. Other people hate these coasters. They say that you'll spin once if you're lucky. And other people yet hate these coasters because they spin so much, because they spin more times than they were expecting. So everyone's expectations of these coasters are all over the map, and everyone's opinions of these coasters are all over the map. But it's a totally new experience for me, and I'm really looking forward to getting on it. I highly doubt that I'm going to be in the camp that thinks it spins too much. Now, that said, me and my son weigh pretty close to the same. So unless we can get mismatched balanced with some other people, we might be in a position where we're not going to spin this much. And that is a concern of mine. I really hope that me and my son are able to get our car really going, really spinning, so we can really experience this ride to its fullest. And I can't wait to get a real impression of this so that I can form my own opinion. Number 6 is Viper. This is a PTC Woody. It is a clone of the original Coney Island Cyclone. Now, I've never ridden the Coney Island Cyclone or even been to New York City. So So I'm very excited to get on this recreation of it and experience that little piece of roller coaster history without having to go to New York City. All right, now we're getting into the top half. These are my absolute must rides for our trip to Six Flags Great America. Let me know in the comments if your favorite didn't make the top five, and let me know why I'm wrong, because I haven't gone yet. I can still, my mind can still be changed. So please, if I'm missing out on something great, if your favorite didn't make it to the top five, or if your favorite's in the honorable mentions, please let me know in the comments. Please don't let me miss your favorite. All right, number five, we have Superman Ultimate Flight. Now, this B&M flying coaster is one of the biggest reasons why I chose Six Flags Great America to be me and my son's next coaster destination. I love the experience of flying. I love the floater airtime that you get on other B&M coasters that are focused, that have a flight simulator focus. I love B&M and I love the experience of flying. This is B&M trying to create the experience of flying deliberately. I'm extremely looking forward to that. I know these are very divisive in the community. I anticipate that this is going to check a lot of boxes for me. Community be damned. I think most of all, I cannot wait to experience that pretzel loop. I think that if I've said it, I've mentioned this before in previous videos, but I think a pretzel loop is one of those elements where if I had wings on my back, you'd catch me doing crap like that all day, just looping, crisscrossing my own path all day. And I'm really looking forward to being brought through a maneuver like that by B&M. Number four, Max Force. This S&S air launch coaster will be my first air launch coaster, my first pneumatically launched coaster. And this coaster is actually the very last pneumatically launched coaster in the world operating. There's still some standing. Now, I truly cannot wait to experience the torque of that launch. That acceleration is calling me. Besides that, it's two unique elements in the dog tongue and the eponymous max dive loop are extremely enticing. I can't wait to experience these two completely unique elements on this brutally fast launch coaster. I'm really, really looking forward to the torque of that acceleration. This appears to be one of the more forceful and violent rides in the park, and I am a fan of that type. Like again, I love the floater, but I need a little bit of intensity mixed in over my day too. So I'm looking forward to Max Force very much. Number three, we have Raging Bull. Now, Magnum XL 200 might be one of my favorite coasters of all time. It was definitely my first favorite coaster that I ever got on. Like the first time I was ever able to say that was my favorite. And I also, as you may know from watching my channel, if you've watched it at all, I'm a big fan of B&Ms. I love that grace. I love that floater. Now, Raging Bull, number three on my list. This is B&M's version of a hyper. This is B&M making a Magnum. I to say that I'm excited to see how this is executed, I think is a huge understatement. It is going to be hard for me not to love this coaster. Massive airtime hills, glass smooth B&M experience, uh, soaring, airtime, ejector, floater, a unique layout with a hammerhead turn would be my first hammerhead turn. Uh, Huge figure eight helix. I'm really looking forward to Raging Bull. They all put this coaster at number three on my list. At number two, we have Goliath. Now, just look at this thing. This hybrid lift hill at the beginning of Goliath makes this thing look like a roller coaster from a movie. And in the movie, roller coasters don't exist, and somebody had to create them from scratch. This is such a cool looking lift hill. It's such a bizarre looking lift hill. This will be my first wood tracked coaster that has inversions. I'm a huge fan of loopers, and I'm also a huge fan of woodies. Shivering Timbers might be my favorite coaster of all time. I love all the B&M loopers, Valraven, Gatekeeper, Rougarou, all the ones that I've rode. I enjoyed the SLC that I rode, but the SLC at Michigan's Adventure is in really good shape, allegedly, compared to a lot of the SLCs in the country. So I'm a huge fan of inversions. I'm a huge fan of a great wooden coaster. This is my first wood track coaster with inversions. This is my second RMC after Steel Vengeance. So Shivering Timbers is on my favorite list. Steel Vengeance is on my favorite list. And here we have RMC, the company that made Steel Vengeance, making a ground up wooden coaster with inversions. If this isn't one of my favorite coasters of all time when I get off of it, I will be surprised. I'm beyond excited to experience RMC's take on a traditional wood track coaster, even though they skirt tradition and spit in the face of tradition when it behooves them. When tradition doesn't serve them, they spit right in the face of tradition, and good on them for it. With a 40-foot taller lift hill than my favorite Woody and Shivering Timbers, and an 85-degree drop going into a tunnel, I think it's going to be hard for Shivering Timbers to compete with this ride. So I'm really looking forward to riding this one. Number one, my most anticipated coaster that I want to ride next year at Six Flags Great America is the Wrath of Rakshasa. Now, I love Valraven. I'm sure if this isn't your first time to my channel, then I'm sure you know that I'm a big fan of the B&M dive model in general. I love its swooping, flowy, zero-G gracefulness. And Wrath of Rakshasa looks like Valraven with the intensity turned up to 10 and the mid-course brake run thrown in the trash. Now, it's not as tall as Valraven. It's not trying to be a record breaker in that regard, but it does boast two more inversions. It's a faster paced ride than Valraven or Iron Menace, and I personally cannot wait to experience the forces of a dive coaster that isn't trying to be purely dynamic and graceful. Now, I've said many times before, and I'm sure I'll say again, I love the dynamic pacing that B&M often utilizes when they're designing their rides. Intensity is not the only positive trait that a roller coaster can have. But that said, intensity definitely is a positive trait that a roller coaster can have, and I'm very much looking forward to experiencing the gracefulness of the dive coaster model with the intensity and the pacing turned up to 10. Now, I have heard mixed reviews on a B&M Rattle, on allegedly B&M's newer rides are not being built to the same strict tolerances that their older rides are and that have been built to for 30 years, and that everyone has come to rely on them for having the smoothest rides. And allegedly, these rides are coming out of the box not as smooth as they're expected to be, and with a noticeable rattle. So I will be happy to report back after I think May is where we're looking for Six Flags Great America. I'll be happy to report back after May and let you guys know if I think the B&M rattle is real or if it's just coaster enthusiasts being dramatic on the internet again. But whether or not there's a rattle, I really anticipate that 96-degree drop into all those inversions, all that floater, is still going to put Wrath of Rakshasa near the top of my coaster list. And that's it. That concludes my top 10 most anticipated rides list at Six Flags Great America. I'm really looking forward to getting down to Gurnee, Illinois, and making this list a reality and reporting back to you, telling you where I was right, where I was wrong. If you want to let me know ahead of time where I'm wrong, again, I would love to be proved wrong. I would love to be told I was wrong before I got there and I make the mistake myself. Please let me learn from your mistakes. Is Rakshasa really, really rough? Like, is it going to beat the hell out of me? Am I wrong about Goliath? Am I going to miss out if I put American Eagle on the back burner for Goliath? Please let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this yapping video, please consider leaving a like so that more people can see the next one. If you really enjoyed it and you want to see more of me, hit subscribe, and my next video will show up on your front page. Thank you so much for watching. I've been Josef, Vertical Drop Viking out.